It's got to that time of year when we've dried out the shallots. The next stage is to pickle them. The first stage is to get some dishes out and a colander. And we are going to put some boiling water on top of these shallots, leave it for a few seconds, and then tip them into the colander and get lots of cold water onto them. And that should mean that the skins will come off. We'll see. Here's the first part. The boiling water has been put on. Just counting down the seconds until I transfer them to the colander. There you go. Into the colander and lots of cold water. So excuse the noise, I'm just going to be doing this. The process at this stage is to take the skins off the onions. And what I'm doing is, I don't know if I'm doing it right or not, but I'm taking them down to the root, and then I shall trim off the root with a knife and trim off the top as well, because that looks a bit funky. And then I shall put them into the next bowl, ready for the next stage. Well, that took a while, but that's what we've got at the end of this batch. And we'll go on to the next stage, which is salting. As you can see, I've put a good layer of salt over the top of the onions. This is to draw out the moisture and help get them crispy. And then we're just going to cover them for 24 hours until the next stage, and meanwhile we'll get the pickling vinegar ready. We're very lucky in the fact that we've got our own bay tree, so I'm actually able to come out into the garden and pick bay leaves, and I will put that into the pickling liquor along with some probably peppercorns. So this is our pickling vinegar. We're going to drop some bay leaves in, drop some peppercorns in, and drop some sugar in, because you do need the edge taken off of it a little bit. And then we'll heat it up, and we will then leave it to infuse overnight. So the first thing this morning, we're going to sterilise the jar. All I've done is rinse it with clear water, so that's got that ready to go in there. It won't stay in there very long, but that's just going to dry out in there. Then we're going to get the shallots. I don't know if you can actually see that that's the water that's come out. I'm going to pop those back into the colander that we used yesterday. And then we're going to give them a really good rinse, so this is going to get a bit noisy. Rinse all the salt off. Then it's time to dry the onions off. Just with a cloth, and just dampen them down so that they're not soaking wet when you put them back into the jar. In the oven long enough to dry. Take it out carefully with oven gloves because it will be hot. Right. So we'll pop them into the jar. This is where a bit of it. So this is the liquor that we boiled up yesterday with some bay leaves and some peppercorns and a bit of sugar. I'm going to pop that into here. Now, most of the bay leaves that will be in the bottom, so we will just get those in as well, because they will continue to infuse into the onions long after we've done this. Then we're going to put the lid on and tighten it down, and that's going to have to wait for another 4 to 6 weeks before they can be tasted. I wonder who's going to do that.
Me.
To see if they're ready. But essentially they will then keep until Christmas. No, they won't.